Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs know the history of teams down 3-0, and it's not good. They're 0-163.
Jeez.
Can Evan Mobley and Cleveland win at home and avoid a sweep? Or will Jalen Brunson and the Knicks continue their torrid roll? They've won 10 in a row. One more win for Cat and company, and they're in the NBA Finals. It's Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals on ESPN.
I love that.
From Studio J in Atlanta, welcome to NBA Tip-Off presented by AT&T. I'm Ernie Johnson. You'll hear from Charles and Kenny and Shaq in just a moment. But first, we pause and consider this day on the calendar. Valor. Not a word you hear or use every day. But on this day, Memorial Day, it is spoken with reverence, with a solemn dignity. And at the same time, it is celebrated with gratitude. Because on this day, we honor the fallen. Those men and women in our nation's armed forces whose valor, that courage in the face of great danger, took them into battles from which they would not return. Memorial Day brings back memories of my father, the Marine. He made it home from the Pacific in World War II safe and sound. He was able to enjoy a life of nearly 90 years as a husband and father and grandfather. And oh, how he relished those reunions with his Marine Corps buddies. But what this day also brings to mind is the memory of just how difficult it was for my dad, even decades later, to speak of his childhood friends who served just as he did, but never came home. Shoot, they were kids, a lot of them, who never had the chance to live life to the full. That's who we pay homage to on this day. We owe them, all those who have given their lives on battlefields around the world, every ounce of gratitude we can muster for their sacrifice and for their valor. And we appreciate you spending part of your Memorial Day here with us on ESPN as we get set for basketball, playoff basketball in the Eastern Conference Finals. But before that,
obviously this is a personal day. My dad was a vet, and I didn't know a lot about my dad till later in life. And when I got a chance to meet some of his Army veteran dudes, man, I have so much respect and admiration for anybody who serves, men or women. And our government does not do nearly enough for our vets. The vets should have everything at their disposal. They shouldn't have to go all through the red tape and paperwork. But man, thank you everybody who served, and bless you and your family, and guys who made it home and guys who didn't make it home. Bless your families.
Agreed. You know, we all have family members that have served in the military. My dad was in the Air Force, and this is a special day for everyone. And, you know, our hats go off to the current military and also the people who have served from top to bottom.
You know, I always try to correct people when they say I'm a hero. And I say, no, I'm not a hero. People that were in the military, like my dad, they're heroes. Police officer heroes, teachers are heroes. So, you know, salute to, you know, all the family members in the military, and to the ones that have passed, my condolences. I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. I'm a military guy. We're all, you know, product of, you know, military children, but this day means a lot.
and you make a good point too about you can fall into that trap of referring to guys who hit big shots as heroes, or you can say, boy, that was really a war, or they left it all out there. But
like teacher, I always say, you know how I feel about teachers and firemen and policemen and anybody who's in the service. I always say those are at the top of my list. If you're a teacher or a fireman or policeman or somebody in the service, you're a hero.
Yeah. As far as this ball game goes tonight, we got the potential of a second straight sweep for the New York Knicks. Cleveland down 3-0. They're in their gym, and a lot of times at this time it comes down to belief. Lisa Salters will be working the sidelines tonight. How would you gauge that belief on the Cleveland side, Lisa? We're just waiting, dramatic pause, for Lisa to appear at Rocket Arena and talk about the belief the Cleveland Cavaliers may have.
What's the belief?
I believe they're going to get their ass whooped tonight.
You believe that?
So let's
I believe that.
Hey, Lisa, are you
guys
hearing
see me?
us? We can
Yes.
see you and hear you. And now, I don't know if you were hooked up when I was talking about belief and whether the Cavs had that going into Game 4.
Yes, Ernie. Well, the Cavaliers are all still saying the right things about how they still have belief in this team, belief in what they're capable of. Kenny Atkinson said before yesterday's film session, he asked guys to speak up and say why they still have belief, and he told them, keep it real, no fluff, just facts, be honest. He said guys had great answers, like they believe because they had success against the Knicks before. They believe because their shots haven't been falling, and they believe that, you know, if that changes the series could change. And they also said they believe because they know they found a way to respond before when their backs have been against the wall in these playoffs. So he said guys all have their reasons why they believe, and yet they understand that they can't win the next 4 without winning this one tonight. But having said all that, Ernie, you can't help but wonder if maybe, just maybe, the emotional toll of what happened in Game 1 was just too much for the Cavs to overcome. And I say that because it just keeps coming up. Donovan Mitchell referenced Game 1 multiple times in his post-game comments after Game 3. He was asked what he's learned in this series, and the first thing he said was, don't lose Game 1 after being up 22. If I learned one thing, it would be that. That was the very first thing he said, and he went on to say, but it happened, and now we have to find a way to get back from 0-3, something that we know has never been done before in the history of the NBA playoffs. So while the Cavaliers aren't looking for excuses, and rightfully so, they've been saying that they've moved past Game 1 right after it happened, but maybe the damage had already been done. Again, though, Ernie, the Cavs say they still believe. Donovan Mitchell also said we have another opportunity tonight to get Game 4, and then we can go on from there. But just listening to you guys and listening to Shaq and Kenny, I don't know. Do you guys believe that?
That was going to be my next question, as a matter of fact. Thank you very much for the report. It was worth the wait. Thank you, Lisa. It's a hard thing to define. And you know, I guess maybe if you're a player, you can say you believe, but do deep down inside.
Man, the Cavs going home tonight. They don't believe
But I'm
it.
talking about the guys wearing those uniforms. Deep down inside.
Deep down, they know they're going to get their ass whooped tonight. Deep down. Ernie.
Easy, huh?
Easy.
Well,
Well, first of all, they got to come out and play with some energy. They can't quit from the beginning. But they know, and she said it, they haven't gotten over Game 1. Why are you talking about Game 1 basically almost a week later? This team, I've seen desperation. We've had this conversation on some of these other series. Kenny know what desperation is. Shaq know what desperation is. When you come up and give up 40 points in a must-win game, the first quarter at home, you unpacked it in. Because 40 points, Ernie, at home?
37.
Okay.
Thank you, Kenny.
Round it off, fool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You round up.
I didn't say you didn't. I just said it was 37.
You can't give up 37 points.
You know what was funny about that, and I'll get to you in 1 second, Shaq. And here's the thing. You mentioned desperation, but when Karl Anthony Towns was doing the end of quarter interview with Lisa Salters in Game 1, he said, we need to play more desperate. Even though they were up 37-27 at the time, they were the team talking about desperation.
And that's why they're up 3-0. You talk about the word belief. I'm an expert at being at this point in the series, being down 0-3. Belief. All 15 guys have to believe that they can win. And I guarantee you all 15 guys on that team do not believe. You're going to have 1 or 2 guys saying, hey, I'm going to go get mine tonight so people can't say it's my fault. Mm-hmm. But the other 13, they don't really believe, and it shows that. So, like Chuck said, they don't play with desperation. If they don't play like they want to win. They may come out with the fake I believe in 3 quarters.
That's exactly right.
But that fourth quarter is going to be, the real true test. And, I'm concerned with the Knicks because, Kenny and I and Chuck have been at this moment. I don't want to think ahead. Because if I win this game tonight, it's going to be sometimes you can get like super, super excited and then you can mess up and then you can give the other team a chance to win. So the Knicks have to be careful and the Cavs have to come out and play with some type of desperation.
Yeah.
But I'm with Chuck. It's over.
Listening to, there used to be a commercial. They used to end with, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Yes.
And so I also
United Negro College Fund.
Negro College Fund.
And your dad used to say it to you all the time.
And
your brother
he said you sit next to people a lot of times that happens to. But honestly, we used to talk about that, saying is like, because when you have so many people telling you can or can't do something, then it becomes what you think you are. And the whole city of Cleveland, everyone around the media, you're hearing constantly that you can't do something. Now, that is the part that internally either triggers you or makes you succumb. And we'll see if it makes them succumb, because that is the moment when everyone's against you and you see who you really, really are. But I say if this game gets down to over 10 points at any point, that's when the Knicks will just go cruise. But if it stays in that 10 or less, 9 or less, I think they have that chance to win one.
And for New York, okay, you win this series. Number one, it would be a sweep twice in the same postseason, which they've never done. But if you get to the finals, the first since 1999, you think back to what their owner James Dolan said earlier this year, and that came into play ahead of Game 4.
Dolan said in January, finals, it's must. I'm just curious if you can take me back then, like what did you think, and like what did you guys think about what he said then, what that felt like, that kind of mandate?
But because of the finals, it's going to get serious. I think that's the goal that we all kind of have. Obviously, it's a little bit different when the big dog says it, but that's the goal that each and every one of us have, and we're our own biggest critics.
What's it going to take to beat this team?
Let's start with making some shots. Let's start with getting some stops and making some free throws. I hate to harp on it, but like we were up 22, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's on us.
Analytically, we're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. There's an expected score, and we won 2 out of 3. The expected score was like 1 point or 2. Us shooting way below expected, them shooting way over. And I know no one wants to hear that. I think you guys like hearing it. I know, general public, no one wants to hear that. Everyone's outcome based, and sure, I get that too.
You damn skip it, we don't want to hear it. And not the general public. Ernie, Shaq, and Chuck and Kenny don't want to hear it either.
Things like shot quality and effective field goal percentage and predicted points and that kind of thing.
I have told you guys about that analytical BS.
Yeah.
If you want to get your son-in-law a job, get him a real job. Don't just get him counting numbers in the office about. Man, I hate when because I like Kenny Atkinson, but that's just.
And he's been a coach of the year, as a matter of fact.
He's a good coach.
So the analytics,
but he hasn't had a good series. Now let's get that out of the way. He hasn't had a good series.
When you hear analytics like that, or analytics described that way, you know what comes to mind for me?
What's that?
Well, Professor O'Neill, once upon a time, pretty analytical look at gas prices and. You know what's coming.
Oh, it's not coming now. Hey. It's not coming now.
Roll it.
I really want to know because I want to get this call, but I really want to save gas money.
You're complaining about when it gets to 0, you spend 80, right? When it gets to half, you put 20. Then when it get back to half, you put 20.
Yeah, but I keep stopping, putting 20 in, and it'll equal 80, the same amount of gas. I'm driving the same amount of gas.
The average human stops once a week for gas, right? With you only work here twice. You would probably have to stop maybe once every 2 weeks.
But 4 times 20 is 80 because I'm going to stop 4 times.
No, you're not going to stop 4 times. Not in 1 week, you're not.
Right, but if Wednesday it's going to be 40, and then on Fridays it'll be 40.
Not 40, 20. Yeah. It's going to be 20.
No.
It's going to be 20.
Not half. Half of 80 is 40.
But no, listen to what I'm saying.
I am.
Okay.
So if I just
no, you ain't gonna have to put gas in every day. Don't play me right now.
I'm not playing.
Don't play with me right now.
One of the all-time greats.
I stand by my method.
Even more appropriate now, considering what's going on.
That's your number one.
No,
the second one is closer to the moon or L.A.
I asked a question.
You asked a question. Is it closer to L.A. or to the moon?
I asked a question.
Yeah, you said you can see the moon, but you can't see L.A.
So I asked a question.
Well, damn it, that wasn't a good question.
By the way, Modelo, fight for victory. Here's some other, just in case you're wondering how the Knicks are doing in this series. And in the postseason, as a matter of fact, In these playoffs, best record, best point differential, net rating.
They've been the best team in the playoffs so far,
exactly.
period.
And that's only part of it. Field goal percentage, assist
They
ratio.
have been the best team in the playoffs.
All of these rebound differential. Yes.
Shaq, you got to give them their flowers, man. They have been the best team in the playoffs.
The best team in the East or best for sure?
In the East.
He feels that the West, and I might
Well,
go.
the West is gonna be favored.
I would say
Okay, but
this.
you said whole playoffs.
Hey, but in the whole playoffs,
No, they're not the whole.
playoffs, the Knicks
No,
are
in
playing.
the East. No,
Listen,
I'm
East,
saying
only
that the
in
West
East.
plays better teams.
Yes, we were patiently waiting. And again, worth the wait.
Hey, man. Brother,
Cavs and Knicks at the top of the hour.
what?
But
Better
when we
take some
come
of that
back,
damn bass out your voice when you're talking to me.
the Spurs and Thunder are all tied up.
Or what?